I got this thing. It was laying around the house. I don't know where it came from, but maybe it was Dave's. But for a long time I had, I didn't know what it is, and it's some kind of power pack or something like that. Well, you can charge it up, and it will recharge your phone. So my phone is at 90% now because it's hooked up to this charger. So I'm gonna use that until it stops working. See how that goes. See if that improves. So, oh boy, Carrie Stacks, Todd, what's his name? You know, I work at the Rise Schools, which used to be Oak Knoll Elementary, which was a part of Fulton County, and it was closed down by the county for being such a bad school. Well, it turns out that I went to this school in 76, 77, the 1976 and 1977, and I went to the 6th grade. My stepfather thought, well, it's a white school, and he's over there with all those colored people. My mom was just like, I'm staying over here in East Atlanta. I don't care if black people. It's not an issue for me. Yeah. So my mom, grew up in Donaldsonville in rural Georgia, and she had a lot of relationships with black women as a young female in the farm country, right? Because the men would be out working, and their wives would be home taking care of the family and the houses. And so my mom, really throughout her life, she had more close relationships with black women where they just really hit it off and just were, just loved to sit together and make stuff like quilts and doing canning and knitting and all this kind of farm girl kind of stuff that they used to do together. Whereas as far as her white friends, maybe Fran Medwin and Irene, the elderly lady that grew roses, and Maureen that Morris lived over in the Briarcliff area. Jean Mansfield. Other than that, those few white women, most of the friend, like Geraldine that lived next door in Annis's, there was a black Vietnam veteran and his wife and my mom were really good friends for a long time. And Geraldine, and from my earliest years, before my mom got over at Foundation of Truth and stuff, and was hanging around with a lot of international people and stuff. Texas, there was a black woman that was from the rural Georgia down, headed down towards Iron City, Texas. And I used to think, remember the Alamo, Texas. Why would a black family choose that for a girl's name? And it dawned on me when I was studying the people's history of the United States that way back in the day, black people would dream of getting to Texas because at that time it was part of Mexico, right? Texas was like, you could go there and be free and have a farm, and stuff like that, And so they were far back enough in time that they knew the story of Mexico and Texas, that you could get to Texas and be free and have your own farm. And so Texas was a symbol of hope. And so they named their daughter Texas, right? And that was one of my mom's best friends for many years. So I have noticed if you're a white person or you're in some kind of very distinctive ethnic group and you completely isolate yourself from another ethnic group, it's kind of odd when suddenly you're immersed in that group. It's like you could be not knowing what's happening. Now, what happened with me is I was always immersed in a black community. I find there's no issue for me. I don't feel I'm in danger or something like this. They're just people, It's all in your mind what you think, Let me get my navigation going. Put my thing in my pocket. So I'm working at the Rise School, and it's mostly black. There are a few Hispanic families and stuff like that. But I don't, the kids get a little bit more on the race issue than me, because I'm supposed to tell them to sit down and be quiet and stuff. I hate doing that. I feel like such a cracker. Cracker. Yeah. Yeah. And sometimes they get after me. Go ahead. Oh no, they might fire me. Oh, what would I do? I would go on vacation, lie down for a few months, and then I would go get another mathematics teacher job because, people are like, have you lost your mind? You want to teach mathematics to American students in Georgia? Must be crazy. When can you start? The last time I just looked on MD, somebody quit, and somebody was saying, well, in the middle of the year, you wouldn't think a teacher would want to quit like that. And I felt terrible about it. I did not want that to happen. I really liked the woman. She seemed very nice. And the kids in a class like that, about 30% of 100, maybe 30 of those kids were ready. Out of 100, about 30 out of 100 were ready to go to the 6th grade. The rest of them were not, right? So what you're doing is you're taking a bunch of kids and you're locking them up in a room for hours, right? And they have no idea what you're talking about, right? They can't do addition. 17 plus 8. No. What is 17 plus 8? 25, right? No, they can't do it. Okay, let me get my dang navigation going before I lose my mind. I love this. My phone sees my face and unlocks. I love it. I wonder if they could do that with my dead body. Kill me and unlock my phone and log into my Duolingo and win all my amulets. Oh shit. I am so out of my mind these days. Hold on. Where's my maps? Come on, just give me a break, guys. Help. Home. Alright. So
this route avoids a slowdown on.
yeah, you know what? Shut up. Bitchin' Betty. Trying to tell me how I'm getting all these benefits from you, and I'm not. This damn country. Racism, bigotry. There's going to be hell to pay. So, tell me I should write a book. Ms. Bays, oh, that's a great story. Please write a book. I should write a book because it's history. It's the truth. Lord have mercy. Let's see. Tutoring. I want to try with a pencil and not a Sharpie to see if he can see it, because that is too low. The sound is too low. All right, so take the next left onto Hogan Road. Okay, I can see that. I could see doing that. I'll go along with that, Mitch and Betty. Yeah. 3/4 of a mile. That means that I don't have to turn on that damn. What is that road? Dodson. With all those speed bumps on it. Man, that drives me crazy. They're big speed bumps too, not just the run of the mill, but wreck your car, bottom out speed bumps. I guess if I lived on the road, I would be okay. Ain't no pet cemetery around here. Does anybody get that? I wonder if you get the man. Yeah, people would speed down the road like on that movie, that awful. I hate that. So, somebody on a body was found. There's a nationwide tip line for some poor African American girl, maybe about 15 years old. Her body was found in front of an abandoned house on Ben Hill, which is right around here. People would say, this is a bad area or whatever like that. And I just don't feel it. I mean, people are just people. I don't feel it's bad. It's poor. People are poor. Trying to get ahead in this world. So we have a Hispanic and a African American dominant demographic down at the airport. But about Oak Knoll, so 76 and 77 was the year I was here. Well, 75, 76, and then 76, 77. Maybe that's the correct. 75 and 76. I gotta check that and figure on that. The school that I'm working at, supposedly in the basement, they have all the yearbooks coming back. So there's going to be one back there on one of those years when I'm in it. And I really want to go and see that, see if I can see that, so I can solidify. I'd like to see all the names of the children, make some copies of that, because I kept, we had, it was like one big 8x10 with everybody in your class, and their little name was written underneath their picture, and I was like, wow. If I down the road, if I wanted to get in touch with somebody, I would have their first and last name. That's all. I'm so glad that I didn't get involved with. I had a relationship with Elizabeth Norton, and we used to. We had a telescope on the patio that we used to watch the stars and the moon and stuff like that. But after school got out, my brother said, you can watch the girls, right? And so we would be up there on the patio with the telescope looking at the girls. And there was this girl, Elizabeth, I was so crazy about her. And somebody got me her telephone number. And after that summer, I called her and I started talking to her. She loved to talk to me. I was like, oh my God, I'm so in love. And but she's like, I don't know, she's like 9 months older than me. Older woman. Right? It was an expectation she had that she should be younger than her boyfriend. Older, like not even a year old, right? So we had all these wonderful conversations, and just it was wonderful. I thought we were really developing a relationship. But sometimes people are just really superficial. So in spite of all that, in spite of like several months on the phone every day, talking to each other with all these stories, and having such a good time, she's like, well, it's an issue, why are you interested in, I'm in the 7th grade. Yeah, I was in the 7th grade. I'm going to the 8th grade. You're not even out of elementary school. It's weird. That's how she felt. I was like, oh, I'm trying to, oh, please. And then she was like, well, I want to introduce you to a girl who's your age. And she sent me the picture of the girl, gave me her phone number and stuff. And I was, God, what an idiot. This guy's making a left turn out of a gas station across 4 lanes of traffic going in the opposite direction of where he's turning, right? He drives directly into the road. I'm already T-boned. I'm at the point of he would T-bone me, right? He's 2 lanes out in the road, turning against traffic back that way. And he blows his horn at me. What the hell are you doing out here in the middle of the road when I'm trying to make a left turn on a no left turn across 4 or 5 lanes of traffic? You MF, the GDMF. That's what you get these days from people. My God, Lord have mercy. Hey, we got it. That's where it comes from. It's God, mercy, because that's how you know God is, far from these people, because they're ruthless. Do you know Ruth? That's what it means. It means mercy. Have Ruth. And to be merciless, ruthless, right? Ruthless, merciless, right? Same thing. Without mercy. Right? And you see a lot of people like that. The hell are you driving down the road for? Get the hell out of my way. Pull out a gun. Really? Oh boy. All right, so disrespect, that's what we have in this country. You got people look at, they put on the top of Fox News like a black person does something. It's top of the news, right? And then you have people like Donald Trump, and it's like, oh, he's good. People that are black that are doing bad stuff, they're copying him, folks. They're copying Donald Trump, right? Because the weakest people, the people with the least ability and strength and power, right? They're just gonna try to imitate the people at the top. That's pushes them around like the title or whatever. So if we want to elevate and make Donald Trump the hero of the United States, which is the most ridiculous thing. What a dummy. I mean, ignorant. Okay, ignorant. He's very, very ignorant. And a little bit scrambled in his mind. It's my understanding that he was an amphetamine addict, or that he took a lot of amphetamines for a long time. So when he talks, he's just like sometimes very incoherent. It's going to be really interesting when he gets dementia, because he's not going to shut up. It's like Reagan, you could say, okay, we're drawing the curtains, Ron. You can go home now. No, we're drawing them again. You can go home. It's all right. You don't have to say anything else, Ron. And he would listen. Right? You could tell him again. He would listen again. But Donald Trump would never listen. So when he gets dementia and starts talking even more crazier than he talks now, crazily. We get an adverb form, adverbial. Crazy. When he talks even more crazily than he talks now. He's gonna try to get on TV, and we'll all have to listen to it. Lord, help! Excuse me while I pick this booger out of my nose. Now, okay, so Miss Baisden was like, she wanted to know what had happened. There was a killing when I was at the school. Somebody was shot. Boy, probably fourth grader or something. Shot in the neck, killed pretty instantly. Hopefully, it was pretty. The gun was placed on the center of his throat, and then it was discharged. So he probably went out pretty quick. Hopefully. But it was one of the bullies in the classroom that did it. Now, I was, as I said before, I was put in Oakno. My stepfather was, called my stepfather. That's raising him to a higher level than he should have been. He was not very good to me. Didn't do much for me at all. Asked a lot of me, right? But was only really decent and helpful in the little manner that he was from time to time, because he thought he was my real father. Well, he felt it would be better if I was in a white school, so they brought me over here. My mom was like, she didn't care. She felt like the black school might be better. But I came over here and I thought the school was terrible. We had 2 bullies in our classroom. Okay, one of the bullies murdered his brother. Okay, what happened? Well, we had this bully, and he was the smaller of the 2, so he got the crap beat out of him by the bigger one. And then after he was beat up by the bigger bully, then he did the dirty work for the bigger bully. So it would go like this. They would do stuff, get in trouble. Somebody would tell on them, and they would get in trouble or suspended or something like that. So the cigarette break would always happen after lunch. All the teachers needed to go to the lounge. So we'd tell everybody to put their heads down on their desk. We'd take a nap after lunch, and the teacher would come back. Well, as soon as the teacher was out of the room, the other world would start. The world of the children, the adults were oblivious to it that it even existed. Todd would stand in the doorway, right, and Carrie would go around the classroom and bash people in the face until he got somebody to admit who told on us when such and such happened. You hope somebody would confess before Carrie got around and smashed you in the face, because there was nothing you could do but just wait. Well, that I have more to tell about that kind of situation. An interesting thing happened during one of those episodes. But this Carrie, if the teacher ever was looking at Carrie, Carrie would have this very innocent looking face, young, innocent child. Where he did have kind of dark circles under his eyes. I don't know why, but for some reason, yeah, he had dark circles under his eyes. But he'd be like, oh, so innocent, right? But as soon as the teacher was not looking, he'd make these horrible faces at people. Snarling, baring his teeth, boogering his eyes up, shaking, and the veins sticking out on his throat, and eyeballs, It was frightening, because he seemed crazy. He seemed really crazy. And so he was the one that actually committed the violent acts against children after lunch during the cigarette break. It was really, what a nightmare. I was like, can you get me out of this school? I don't want to be in here. That wasn't the only reason we didn't, it just didn't. It was very half-assed. So I was not surprised when I heard Fulton County had eventually closed the school. It's like, this school is just never going to amount to anything, so we're just going to close it. And then a charter school took over the building. We're in there now trying to make it good. Doing a better job in spite of what we have to work with, which is there's a lot of poverty, and that affects the children's behavior. But back to Kerry and the killing of his brother. They had a pistol of some kind that they kept in a drawer in the kitchen. Right? Kerry knew where it was, right? And then under unknown circumstances, parents were not there when it happened. He had two brothers, and one brother was coming in the rear of the house. This is my understanding of how it unfolded. He was coming in the rear door of the house through the screen door. He opened the screen door, and Kerry placed a revolver on his throat and discharged the weapon, killing his brother. And they made this big thing. The following week, Kerry was not in school. But there was a lot of emphasis that the teachers were going around to explain to all the children, because all in the news, everybody knew Kerry was out of school. His brother had been murdered, and they felt, that they had to explain the nature of what had happened to us, the children, right? So they came around and like, Kerry is just a very young child, and he did not understand what he was doing. He didn't understand what killing was. Now, this is a boy who told me that I wasn't going to tell him because I would be dismembered and buried by the creek, and nobody would ever know what happened to my body. How old are kids like that? They're 6th grade, that's 12, 11. It's like, I will cut you up and bury you in the creek. Nobody will ever know what happened to you. I'm not going to tell them. That's a little bit graphic there, Gary. Graphic. You understand what it means to be dismembered and to be dead, right? And you're terrorizing the other students. The teacher walks up, "Oh, how are you doing?" "Oh, I'm doing fine, Miss Wade. How are you?" Like, Miss Wade, do you ever see what this guy is doing to us? No, you don't. I hope that you, when you went to the pearly gates or whatever, they said, "Miss Wade, you should have been looking. You were addicted to cigarettes and you were not watching those kids, and a lot of people had to hell to pay for that." Okay. So Kerry murdered his brother, and they came around. They said, "Don't think any other way. Kerry's completely innocent. He was totally oblivious to what would happen if he discharged the firearm in the neck of his brother right on his out. He didn't understand what that was, right? And all of us, we're like, you teachers, you're out of touch. You are out of touch. You do not listen. You're oblivious to what's going on in this classroom. This maniac is like a henchman of this other guy. They beat us every day, or Kerry hits us every day, and we're in a state of terror because of him, right? And so this is another story. They had like an anti-drug program, right, to keep the kids from drugs, right, to save them. And having taken communication theory, I'm like, you know what? I wonder if the plan behind the designers of that wasn't to get kids dealing drugs more, because it's very counterproductive. They had us making these posters, and there was like a naughty doggy and a naughty kitty. Bessie is a a naughty kitty. Here she is going in the medicine cabinet and taking her mom's pills, right? And that's very naughty. She did. And Todd, you know, he's like, I'm a naughty kitty, right? And the little puppy, you know, was going in his mom's purse. And like, I had already got in trouble for making suggestions in class because Miss Wade was like, I cannot believe the audacity that you would dare to tell me how to do my job and tell me how to teach. I made a suggestion once. I was like, my mom had done these little craft activities with the content, right? Where you give the kids, you know, they make a little something like a little booklet with snowflakes and decorated or something like that. But yeah, my mom tried that, and I suggested it because her class, the whole class is asleep. You know, they're just all put their head down on the desk, and she's just droning on, you know, and everybody's ignoring her. Some of the kids are drawing pictures and stuff like that, and I sort of felt sorry for her. It's like, you know, I'm not like this in my mom's Montessori class. Like, I didn't say that directly, but that was the thing that I felt. Is that, what did my mom do that was different? Well, you know, kids, they like to be involved in doing something, you know. And sometimes their minds do wander off. I was making a Lego video with my daughter last night, and things, you know, went for about a half an hour, and then she got fascinated with the tires that came with the Lego set. She got fascinated with that, and I was like, "Come on, let's come." I was like tired. I was like, you know, but kids will do that. They'll be like, you know, I am so fascinated and preoccupied with this other thing now that I'm tuning you out, you know. And I was bad, you know. I should have just gone with it and played with the tires and said, "Let's make the thing with the tires," right? Because that had caught her interest, and she was really so interested in it. She couldn't really continue working with me on putting it was a Lego kit that had a bunch of different projects in it that you could put together. So search around for the pieces and put it together. So yeah, I made that suggestion this week. Boy, that class woke up then. How dare you tell me how to teach, tell me how to do my job. Who do you think you are to come to my classroom? You know, I mean, you know, think about that, folks. Here you are, and a kid does something like that. Is that really good? A good way to respond to it? You know, I try to not do that. If a kid tells me I should teach in a certain way, I'm like, I try to the well. You know, by law, I'm required to. I've had some kids tell me, you know, stop teaching math. You know,